Hello, my name is Arthur, and in the last video I finished up with getting the text size buttons in the view menu working, and now I've started on the search menu. At this point in this series of videos, we're going to assume that we know how to make widgets and pack them into boxes. So I've made my own version of the search and replace bar that goes into here. Now I don't have the information bar at the bottom still, but maybe later I'll do something like that. So I just put together a bar that it's made really quite quickly, so I don't have any tool tips in place. I went with a label button to make my close button because I don't know how to make this little tiny close button. I don't know how that's done. So mine is not as organized as this one, but it's fairly good. So we'll just take a look at how it's made and then get it working more right, because I just have it put together so that it just displays right away and it's always displaying. So we'll make it a window like this that can pop up. So that window pops up when we press the button. If we have something selected when we press the button, that selection would appear in the search for text field. So yeah, we'll just have a look at what I have and how that's made, and then we'll move forward with changing it a little bit so that we can make it pop up and maybe make it close in this video too. So in the make window function is where I've started making it. So after it makes the toolbar, the notebook, and the menu, I've added in from here down to the make CSS, which was already there. I've just put this in the middle. So I've added in a pane, so that's a window that is at the bottom. So more or less what it is it's the division between the two bars. So I put in a pane with a vertical orientation. That means it will stack this way, up and down. And I added the pane to the V box. I created two H boxes. That's what the buttons in the field are packed into. And I put the H boxes into the pane. And then when I make the search and I make the replace, I just pass the appropriate box for things to get put into. So that's up a little bit. So make search, it's a little bit wordy because it takes a few widgets to make it. And we could call up mine to look at it. That way we can sort of see the display. So we'll put that there. And we'll just kind of look at it like this. So we have the caps in the word, which is AA, to represent, that would represent that the search would be sensitive to capitals. So it wouldn't highlight GTK widget with that in a smaller way. Whole word, so that's the whole word. And then in this one, it has a few other categories. Regular expression, I don't really even know what that means. And wrap, I don't think that applies because I don't use word wrap. I don't plan on putting word wrap into this. I don't plan on putting word wrap into it because the idea is more along the lines of for writing scripts. That's why I went with the monotype, the mono characters. So we have the two buttons and then the label, search for, the entry, the next two buttons, next and previous. I've put no size allocations onto these, so no size requests to even them all out, but size requests could be used to even things out a little bit. And yeah, I just made this button as a regular button with a label rather than doing the icon button. So that was just a quick way to get it done, and I can easily change that to an icon, which we've already demonstrated to make this button. So that's something that's already been demonstrated in these. And then the rest is just how we packed them in. So I packed the two little buttons in at the start, followed by the label. And then on the end, I pack in the close button, the previous, the next button, and the field. And that makes it so when we scale, the fields change size. So they kind of have a minimum size, and this is now the minimum size that the window can shrink to. Which I think it's actually just a little bit bigger than what this one will shrink to. So it's pretty standard, really. It's a little more constrained for being able to shrink it, but I don't see that how small we can shrink the bars is that much of a measure for what we have going on there. So let's just get that over. So yeah, these are all pretty standard. I haven't put in any of the tool tips because things should have tool tips to go with them, but yeah, that's all obvious stuff at this point in these videos that we don't really need to point out. And then really, all I did to make the replace bar is I took a copy of the make search function and I just renamed things. I took out the things that weren't needed because this doesn't need the extra buttons. With the label, I gave a whole bunch of spaces. So the whole bunch of spaces is acting as the padding to line the end of the words up. And then on the one button, the replace button, I gave it a size allocation because that lined up the two text fields so that things look more orderly with that one simple size request given to this button to sort of give it a little bit more of a structured look to it. Even though it's, you know, it's not as nice as this with the nice, I didn't do the drop down, so it's not going to have a history. And this history is hard disk saved. This is in some kind of I'm not sure what kind of a file gets used to save stuff like that. I won't know until I actually look into that, which I haven't gotten that far in my programming yet. So it's basically done the same way. The only thing that's packed at the start of this bar is the label, because that way the field will push itself up against the edge of the label and will scale like that. And then on the other side, I simply put the buttons, the button, and the text field. And yeah, set the one size request. And I just monkeyed with the number until they lined up. So not a lot of big trick there, right? It's just play around with the number until you find the one that lines the edge of the text field up and call it good enough. So I'm calling that good enough. Now, what I've done here in make window, this is the part that we're going to change a little bit. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to change the nature of HBox and HBox 1 and 2. So after we make the call to show all, then we're going to make the HBox. So what that's going to do is it's going to make the program start up without showing these two bars. Now, to get access to these two, I think that the easiest solution is to copy, well, dart up to the top here. We're going to declare that global. So we'll make this box global, and we'll make HBox 2 global. So that's down and make window HBox 2. We'll make this global. So we'll just copy that out. Paste that in here. And then we'll come back down to make the window. And we'll take the declarations out. So we'll just give them their values here. So that will get us in the place that we want to be. So now we'll need the two buttons. To be activated. So we'll just copy this and paste and paste. We'll go up. We'll change this to search with the capital S. And I think this one was called replace. So we'll just do that. Take that out. And replace. Now the function of these, it doesn't begin with these function calls. These function calls, they would basically open that up and close it. And let's see how that works on here. See, that doesn't close it. Well, search closes replace. And replace opens both. So if we press search, only search for comes up. If we press replace, we get both bars. But with both bars up, if we press search, the replace bar is hidden. So that's the behavior we would be looking for. So let's make some functions. And I don't know if we really need to put these up top, but I guess I'll just keep going upwards. So this would be void search. Void replace. And we'll put a space in here. space in here. So in here we would be GTK widget show, and search is hbox1. And we'll go GTK widget hide hbox2. And then here we'll put show and show. And here we'll make void hide search. And in this one we'll hide both. Now a lot of the rest of the function of this has nothing to do with these things. This is a very active search, so I'll have to figure out how to make that work. For now, we're just going to get it working where it shows and hides. So the actual search functions, that's going to take a little bit more work than that. So now we have a couple of the buttons working. Now in the actual, when we build the search, we're going to want to put in a signal. So we'll put in a signal for close. G signal connect. Let's go up and find the syntax on signal connect for a button. Signal connect widget button. Clicked. Callback. So that's widget and button. Where were we here? G signal connect widget. How did we do that? I'm gonna just make sure I'm doing it right. GTK widget. Okay. So we have to put GTK widget. The widget is close, comma, clicked, comma, G callback. I'll have to go up and look. I think I called that search close. Search hide search. Well, we'll go up and have a look. Yeah, hide search. Callback, hide search. comma, null. And I think that should actually get us working. Hopefully. So hopefully that compiles without too many mistakes. Oh, no mistakes. Did I save that? Oh, it looks that way. So we press search. We press that. Nothing happens. We have find. Find. Okay, I have to check my names here. I'm going to make sure that we have the names all in order. So I have find and replace. And here I have the tool buttons. Okay. Find and replace. Hopefully this gets them working. That's the first time that I noticed I had buttons that had different names. Okay, so that is not working. Maybe we have to do it like this. And this would be hide and hide. We'll see how that works. Now it's just a matter of figuring out how it'll work. So there we go. Now we have the two. If we press search, the replace will disappear. And if we close the X, they'll both disappear. So now we have search, search and replace, and we can close them. So that has that sorted out. I guess it needed to be show all, but it doesn't need to be hide all. So that has that part working. The next part is to get this part working, and hopefully to get it kind of working like it works here. So the really active kind of search, like this is a pretty active kind of search. So if we go GTK, it's going to do something else. If we go clip, if we tell it whole words only, it's not going to show very much. If we go clipboard, with whole word only. It's not going to show any of it in the statements. So we're going to look to try to make search that has this kind of functionality and highlights things in a similar fashion. So hopefully get the search function working the way that it should work. So that would be coming up in a later video, and until then, I hope this was helpful. Take care.